the Punch newspaper. The top story here: fuel import. Marketers differ as Dangote sues NNPCL, 5 others. The writer to that story: parties in talks before presidential panel. Case will be withdrawn in January. This is according to Dangote. So to the story itself, Dangote Petroleum Refinery and Petrochemical have taken legal action against the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority and some major importers in the oil and gas sector of the Federal High Court in Abuja. Dangote claims that the refinery's production has exceeded domestic consumption levels, rendering imports unnecessary. But oil marketers have kicked against this, stressing that the market has been deregulated and dealers were free to import the commodity or buy from the $20 billion Lekki-based refinery. So for the sake of having a full conversation, Fuad, I would also like to inform the public that there's new information regarding this, that no fresh case has been filed, and this particular suit that was filed against the NNPCL and the NMDPRA, it was as far back as June, before the Naira for crude arrangement was made, amongst other things. But basically that suit was instituted by Dangote because he believes, according to the PIA, Fuad, import is only necessary when there is a production shortfall. That's if you're unable to take care of the needs of your domestic consumers, that is when you resort to importation. And now he's saying, I can afford to take care of your needs. So why exactly is the NMDPRA granting licenses unnecessarily and bringing in products when I'm able to take care of it? But like I said, latest information is that there's no fresh case. I think January 2025 is when it was adjourned to. But right now, with the Naira for crude arrangement, amongst other things, they're looking towards an out-of-court settlement. Before I talk about the suit that Dangote even filed in the first place and some of the events that prompted him to go on ahead to approach the court regarding this matter.
Well, Sage, I think things are coming to a point where we now understand what is going on in the Nigerian oil sector. First and foremost, I think Alhaji Aliko Dangote and his refinery are getting more frustrated by the fact that the players in the industry, the regulators in the industry, have no intentions to protect local producers of petroleum products, which in itself is supposed to be the essence of the entire PIA Act that they keep talking about. Sage, if you remember when Ahmed Farouk said that, look, for energy security, we cannot allow for a monopoly. And that one of the ways to ensure energy security is desire to continue to import refined petroleum products.
Yeah.
And that's one of the ways to ensure energy security and fight any form of monopoly. The fact is that these guys are committed, basically, at ensuring one thing remains. That look, no matter what we do, we'll have to continue to import this product. And you can see that for everything they do, they are more committed to ensuring that status quo remains, no matter what we do. Now, Alhaji Aliko Dangote is saying that, look, I'm still, there's always this question that, look, Dangote cannot meet our local needs,
right,
our local consumption needs. In fact, yesterday, it was reported that over 100 million liters of PMS has been imported into the country by some marketers.
Yes.
And I remember that I was asking Sandra yesterday that, who are these marketers that suddenly now have foreign exchange to bring in products? So let's begin to think about these things. And I hope that people that are listening to us would also try and tie these things together. You remember that issue of licenses for people to bring in products is not anything new. And marketers have always said that the only reason why NNPCL has been the only player bringing in products is because they have access to Forex, because they are selling crude, and look, they don't have the same access to Forex and they cannot just bring in products. So they rely on the NNPCL being the sole importer of petroleum products. Now, we have marketers who cannot bring in products. The excuse or the justification is that, look, the market has now been deregulated. But I ask again, deregulation or not, where are they getting the forex from now to be able to bring in this product? That's number one. And who are these marketers? Number two, Sage, Dangote with this particular case in court, although yesterday night there was a retraction to say that, look, it was a case that started in June. They are hoping to withdraw the case in court by January, and that is happening because the intervention of the president had overridden whatever was going on in court.
Yeah.
And that, look, they're already looking at the possibility of crude for Naira. That crude for Naira was supposed to start the 1st of October.
Yeah.
Until now, it has still not happened. We're already running October, almost closing on the month of October. Now, Dangote has been able to dispel whatever the NNPCL, the NMDPRA, and some colluding marketers are saying about the lack of capacity of Dangote to meet our local consumption demand. In fact, what Dangote is telling you, if you read the story very well, is that, look, some of their jet A1 and diesel they produce are now largely unsold because people now prefer to go and import these products into the country. And I'll tell you why. Say it. Now, as a country, we have always talked about this idea of trying to protect what? Local industries. That's not what we've been trying to do.
Yes.
Let me ask you a question, Sage. Why did we ban the importation of rice into the country?
The president says we can grow rice by ourselves so we can consume locally grown food.
Beautiful. So we decided to ban importation of rice.
Yes.
Have we?
Yes.
Into the country to protect what? The local farmers.
Yes.
Who are able to produce. That's the argument that we can produce this thing. Why must we continue to import?
Yes.
Right? So why can't we do the same thing for Dangote refinery and other refineries in the country? Do we have people who are in government who also have vested interest in the importation of petroleum products? Because it's the same model. Let me tell you, Sage, that look, if we decide today to open up our borders to bring in all this parboiled rice, polished rice from abroad, are you aware that it will be far, far cheaper than what we are producing locally?
Of course, cost of production makes locally grown food more expensive.
So, but why are we protecting the local farm rice industry, despite the fact that if it was imported, it would have been cheaper? I don't know whether you follow my argument.
I absolutely follow your argument, Fuad.
So, but when it comes to petroleum products now, we are not ready to do that. Before government refineries, we are not even committed to fixing it. Just because there are people who are committed with all their blood and life to ensure that, look, being an oil producing nation or not, Nigeria, you must continue to import refined petroleum products. Because Dangote is saying that, look, I can meet your local demand. Forget about all these things that, look, and the reality is that, look, the refinery has said that, look, you know when they also came out to say, oh, we wanted 25 million liters daily from him, he was able to do only about 11 million or 12 million liters. Dangote told us that, look, was there any point where you brought in trucks to load my products and I say it's not available?
Right.
Why are you the one telling the people that I can't meet your local demand? What are your intentions? So you can see that the Farouk man of NMDPRA knew what he was saying when he said that, look, Dangote just wanted a monopoly. I'm not speaking for Dangote, Sage, because what I thought we would have done to fight any form of monopoly from Dangote is to fix our own refineries.
Right.
And create that competition, if that is the intention really. Why must we use importation to fight? Because at the end of the day, Sage, there's something that has been put out in some media outlets. A friend who is also a stakeholder in the industry sent me that audio yesterday. It's more like a jingle. Some friends have also confirmed that it's already being played in some media outlets in Ibadan. I've not had it in Lagos. I'm still watching out to hear it. And it was produced and put in the media by some people who call themselves concerned citizens of Nigeria. Say, do you know what they were saying in that jingle?
What?
They started by first saying that, look, they are speaking for the NNPCL, that the NNPCL is not the NNPCL of old. It's a new one. And that both locally refined petrol and that of imported one are the same quality. That the only reason why the imported one comes in that yellowish pinkish color is that the people that produce it for us deliberately color it so that we don't mistake it for kerosene, and that this quality is the same, and that nobody should. There's all manner of nonsense propaganda put out in that statement. See, basically, if you listen to that audio, it is to fight whatever the Dangote refinery stands for when it concerns our capacity to refine petroleum products locally. If we are not careful, we are going to kill the Dangote refinery.
Well, Fuad, speaking of jeopardizing the Dangote refinery, they also raised concern that the NMDPRA is threatening to impose a 0.5% levy on wholesale buyers and off-takers, along with another 0.5% levy for the midstream and downstream gas infrastructure front. All of these are contrary to the principles of the free zone, because it is on the free trade zone. So why exactly?
On the free trade zone,
yes. So he's surprised that the NMDPRA is imposing levies on them. That's the whole point of the free trade zone, is that I don't have to pay certain levies. So this total disregard for the rule of law, especially in the oil sector, Fuad, I'm trying to understand the brazenness of these individuals.
No, before we even talk about the rule of law,
right?
The brazen disregard for what is supposed to be a commonsensical approach to supporting local business, to supporting our desire to be able to refine our petroleum products locally. It's what even worries me. Whose intentions, whose interests, are these guys protecting? These guys who call themselves regulators, especially the NNDPRA and the NNPCL guys. They need to tell us whose interests are they really protecting. I don't work with Dangote refinery, and I'm not talking about any monopoly here. What I'm saying is that, look, you can see that deliberately, intentionally, they are not even talking about their own refineries again. All the timelines to fix their own refineries now, they'll be completely quiet about it. The energy now is importation of petroleum products. And people have said, experts have even said that, look, if we guarantee, if we're able to support our local refiners and increase their capacity, support them, look, say, we can begin to rework the model locally to begin to adjust the price of petroleum products down for our own local consumption. I told you that, look, our founding fathers have built those refineries, those 4 refineries, built it for a day like this. When we are able to, out of whatever we produce daily, reserve that 445,000 barrels of crude oil for local productions. At that point, we can tinker with pricing to meet our own local peculiarities in terms of pricing. But now they will tell you about free market, it has been deregulated, all manner of nonsense, ridiculous excuses will come. I think these things cannot be tinkered with for the benefit of the most vulnerable and poor in the society. I was listening to Dr. Muda Yusuf, recently, and he was saying that, look, even they that are now experts, they have suddenly realized that what they were told, what was analyzed before, as to the fact that, look, when subsidy was, when we are still paying subsidy, it was only benefiting the rich, it was not benefiting the poor. That even they as economists have now realized that actually the poor was benefiting from it. Because that was the linear, useless argument they put out there that they want everybody to believe. And I will keep saying it that, look, subsidy can never be the problem. It is our operations of subsidy, which is coming from the failure of the government to do the right thing when it comes to tackling corruption around subsidy payments. And so when the government fails in its own responsibility to do the right thing, the people are made to suffer. Is that how to run a government? Oh, they were diverting fuel. Oh, people were not bringing in things and government was paying them. Can't the government fix the corruption around subsidy rather than put the people into this untold hardship and suffering? So for every time the government fails in its capacity to do the right thing, the people must suffer. And that's how to run a government. It's how to run a government.
Fouad, that is that story. Let's see what happens at the end of the day, especially now that chances are Dangote is going to withdraw that particular suit with hopes that the president's intervention would...
They will withdraw it in January.
Yeah,
but I'm sure it's still marking time.
Yeah, January 2025. So that's what we have regarding that story. It's on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. For those of you just tuning in, this is Trends in the Papers on Mainland 98.3 FM. My name is Sage Babalola. I'm here having conversations with Fouad Said, who plays the role of analyst this very moment. We're streaming the program live on Facebook and on YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM. So you can join the live stream and also start to drop your contributions. Moving on to further stories, and speaking of subsidy, Fouad, page 27 of the Punch tells us that federal government loses 13 trillion naira to forex subsidy, and this is according to the World Bank. So the federal government incurred a significant loss of 13.2 trillion naira in foregone revenue as a direct consequence of the implementation of its foreign exchange subsidy policy between 2021 and 2023. The World Bank has stated. It said the government lost 2 trillion in 2021, 6.2 trillion in 2022, and 5 trillion in 2023, and the amount forgone in revenue was due to its insistence on regulating the value of the naira against the dollar in the official exchange market, but allowing a fair market price at the parallel market. Do you remember when there were arguments that or let me say allegations and assumptions that we were dipping our hands into our foreign reserve to defend the naira, and the feedback we got then was, no, we're just using this money to pay the backlog of debts that we owed. And then we went on ahead to float the naira. We went on ahead to say we want to harmonize official rate and parallel rate. Well, the consequence of all of these decisions is that we lost 13 trillion naira at the end of the day, and this is the World Bank telling us that. Oh, I think we lost that call. I apologize. We'll get Fouad back on the line in no time. Please bear with us. But still, you can start to drop your submissions using the live chat option on Facebook and on YouTube. That's for those of you who like to give your opinion on the stories as we go along. We're at this moment having conversations about the loss that we incurred as a result of some of our forex policies, or our attempt to harmonize both the parallel market and the official market, and some of the oversight that were made and the consequences that it had on our economy. Fouad, do we have you back? Hello?
I'm with you, Sage.
All right, please, I don't know if you heard that story.
No, I got it.
All right, go ahead, please.
Well, okay, the World Bank will always say these things by their prescriptions to Nigeria, their economic prescriptions to the government, which the government is now implementing with a very poor methodology, actually, with a very poor approach. Because see, there are no hard and fast rules really to policy implementation. Because for every policy implementation that I care, you have to look at the method to determine the approach. Because at the end of the day, it's not about the people, not necessarily about the flaws.
Fouad, your connection is a little poor. All right, just hold on a second. Let's try to call Fouad back. We sincerely apologize for this disruption, but this is Mainland 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos. It's Trends in the Papers. We're streaming live on Facebook and on YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM. We're currently looking at the front page of the Punch, and we're trying to analyze some of the consequences of government policy when it comes to forex, amongst other things. Fouad, are you here?
Yes, I'm with you.
All right, please round off your thought.
All right, so what I'm saying is that, look, of course, the World Bank will put out these statements to justify the implementation of their policy prescriptions to the government. But what we are saying is that, look, for every policy idea, the methodology, the timing, the approach matters. Because at the end of the day, policies are not just about the figures. It's about the interests of the people. If you understand what I'm saying.
Yes.
Oh, government was losing this amount of money because they were intervening, defending the naira and all of that. But again, for you to implement a policy, there are steps. And what people are saying is that, look, it's not even anything wrong in trying to defend your currency anyway. And if you decide that you want to float your currency, there are things that must have been in place. Your capacity to be able to earn forex, your capacity to be able to produce. There are things you must have. Because again, what we've done now, basically, is to throw the entire foreign exchange market into a very chaotic mode. Like nobody's regulating anything. It's a free fall. They'll tell you the market is regulating everything. Nothing is regulating anything because there's no balance anywhere. There's no balance of trade. What are we producing? Say. So at the end of the day, it's extremely dangerous for the interest of a heavily import-dependent nation, Nigeria, to just float its currency the way we've done, when we are not even producing anything. And if you see the arguments of different economists, you know that there's no alignment of thought anywhere. Because again, we need to ask ourselves, are we going to continue like on the life of the people? Is anybody thinking about policy implementation like the floating of the local currency of a nation? That just being what the World Bank has prescribed to you. And then what about what you call approach to policies when you are not supposed to do everything at the same time? So you just take all the policies all at the same time, aggressive revenue drives, subsidy removal, floating of the currency, and you shove everything down the throat of Nigerians all at the same time. A country that has no real capacity, the same thing, energy costs has gone up. So even if this is the best policy to adjust the foreign exchange market to market realities, so everything should be thrown into policy implementation at the same time. Is that what the government is thinking?
Well, that story is on page 27 of the Punch newspaper. Let's talk a little politics now. Page 18 tells us 2027 pro-Wike PDP bigwigs forgive me, comes north for Makinde's running mate. Now, there are fresh indications that several bigwigs and chieftains of the People's Democratic Party may have resolved to snub former Vice President Atiku Abubakar and settle for the Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde, according to the Punch. The clandestine move comes barely a week after governors elected on the platform of the PDP brokered peace between factions of the party. Now, despite the call to maintain the status quo, members of the PDP National Working Committee loyal to the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, have begun pushing for the candidacy of Makinde ahead of the 2027 presidential election. And the logic, according to multiple sources that spoke with the Punch correspondent, says this is to truncate the ambition of Atiku and stop the party from conceding the ticket to the former VP, who they lamented has become a serial contestant. Fuad, this is what we have on our hands. Many would have assumed that if they're going to give the ticket to anyone, or maybe even reserve the 2027 ticket for anyone, they would most likely want to field former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, because he has been contesting since time immemorial. But the faction loyal to Nyesom Wike in the PDP says they need a younger person. They need somebody who is vibrant. They need somebody who understands, the environment and can communicate with people locally, amongst other things. And Atiku Abubakar might be lacking in these qualities. And so they're hoping to field the governor of Oyo State, Seyi Makinde, and are actually looking to the north for a running mate, for the equity, justice, or what have you, and all the principles that they usually highlight when they want to have their way. So that's the story for at page 18.
I've told you several times that if the PDP is not careful, the APC will choose a candidate for them. And what does this story tell you, directly or indirectly?
They are indeed, because they are the faction loyal to Wike, who is currently serving under
the ruling party. Today? Who is Wike today?
The Minister of the FCT working with the APC. So
working with the APC, helping to dismantle and destroy the PDP. Quote me anywhere. So if it is the same Wike people that have decided to settle for Seyi Makinde, Seyi Makinde too have been inconsistent when it comes to his position on the PDP. Today he is here, tomorrow he is on the other side. I was telling Sandra or you that, look, if they are talking about real reconciliation and they are looking at governors who are really serious about the future of the PDP, they should just remove Seyi Makinde from it. Everything he has done has not really shown that he's really committed to the future of the PDP. And let us even look at this possibility that Seyi Makinde will now be the candidate of the PDP in 2027, and then they'll look for another, to be his running mate. What kind of combination is that? Seyi Makinde against the President Bola Ahmed, I don't know. I don't know what that is going to give the PDP. But again, politics is a game of interest. And I think these interested parties are always just looking at their own future, whoever they are working for, and what they are trying to plan ahead of 2027. But I think that the PDP as a party is not serious about bringing their house, bringing people together to really work for the future of the party towards 2027. And I've said it, the only way the PDP can get back to normal, can become a strong opposition force ahead of 2027, is to expel Yᴏᴜᴛᴜ from the party. So far, they are not able to do that. They are just joking.
I wonder if the court injunction he was able to incur is still useful.
Why have they not challenged that court order? Have they not challenged it? They can vacate the order.
Chances are they've probably tried. I mean, somebody in there must
have been wise enough. We have not seen. No, there has to be consistency. You have to show the man that, look, you want him out of the party. But you know why it's a bit difficult, really? When similar Fᴜʟᴜ was making frantic efforts to take over the structure of the PDP in Rivers State, he didn't get the desired. Look, it's extremely difficult, really, to save the PDP. Because what Wike has done is to create that web of confusion for the PDP. Until today, if a Ḥèyí Mákindé can still not face on Wike and say that, Oga, you are destroying this party with what you are doing. That's what I'm saying, that for as far as I'm concerned, Ḥèyí Mákindé has not shown any serious commitment to the future of the PDP as a strong opposition to the ruling party. The man has basically been behaving as somebody who's just interested about his own future. And don't be surprised that one day he's going to pop up in another party. Or these are the guys that will eventually, bury the PDP completely. Look at what's it called? Some of the governors in the North Central, Fᴜʟᴜ and the other one. You don't even know where they stand. So I'm saying that, I don't know, somehow Wike has been able to hold the PDP down, and he's still holding that party down. Forget all the things people like Balamwa, and that was why when they were misbehaving, quote and unquote, he told them, if you are not careful, I'll throw fire into your state. And don't you see that most of them behave themselves? Even Ḥèyí Mákindé in Rivers State, UK, please, don't throw fire in my state too.
Well, Fuad, there's supposed to be a meeting today, right? The Oyinlola panel, the reconciliation panel led by Olaguseye Oyinlola, they have a meeting today with Damagom, the National Working Committee, and some of the governors elected under the PDP. They have a meeting today they're just trying to reconcile all of the aggrieved parties. And I mean,
who are the aggrieved parties? The PDP has always lived in liars and deniers. They have always told themselves lies. That was how they started with all of this committee before their primaries last year. And we said that, look, they will not achieve anything. All they needed to, look, if the PDP wants to really reconcile, all the people that they need to put in a room, lock themselves up and tell themselves truth, are not more than 10. Sage, the people that they need to put together, lock themselves up somewhere and tell themselves some own truth and reconcile and agree that they are going to work together, are not more than 10 in that party. In fact, they are not even up to 10. 5. All of this crisis in the PDP, is it not about yes or Wike?
Mm-hmm.
If I cannot get it, nobody should get it. I will destroy the party. Oh, in my state, Rivers, I thought I put a stooge as governor. Now he's not fighting me. It's a bad investment. But I will not let him rest and sleep. They cannot take my structure away from me. And then on the other part, he understands that working for the APC at the federal level is one of the biggest leverage he has as a politician at this time. The only reason why he's able to pull this weight and strength and influence as a politician is because he enjoys the patronage of the presidency. He knows that, and what's the interest of the presidency in tolerating the shenanigans of Wike in Rivers State? It's all about 2027, and whatever they think you'll be able to do for them when it comes to destroying the PDP. That is the calculation. And so, Oyinlola committee, quote me anywhere, will not achieve anything. They are not going to reconcile nothing. The Tʀᴜɪᴜ disciplinary committee, who have they been able to discipline?
No,
I'm saying that, look, that party is not serious, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, that story is on page 18. Both stories actually are page 18 of the Punch newspaper. We have another one here. PDP APC trade words over Ayédatiwa's spending. Now, the Ondo State chapter of the People's Democratic Party have queried the expenditure of Governor Lucky Ayédatiwa's administration in the past 10 months, which the All Progressives Congress have discontinued. A statement by the Publicity Secretary of the PDP in the state, Mr. Kennedy Peretti, on Monday alleged that Ayédatiwa's government has expended the state resources on projects that have never seen the light of day. The director of publicity of the APC in the state described the allegations of the PDP as false and designed to malign the achievement of the governor. They also have here that the people have beamed their searchlight on the 10 months of Mr. Lucky Ayédatiwa. The verdict has been a resounding failure. On the 22nd July 2024, more than 35 billion naira was approved for asphalt overlay of roads in 4 Akoko local government areas and Akure axis of the state. 3 months later, the roads are still in the same state that they were before the contract award. Now we have a governor that is being accused of diverting funds, so to speak. Emphasis on accused by the PDP, that he continues to spend money without concern, and all of the infrastructure of the state that the monies were allocated for are still in the same state that they were before the allocation of these funds.
Well, of course, the APC has responded. It's just all politics. You guys don't know what they are saying. And of course, that's the response you get. They'll tell you it's just all political. They just want to, malign, and of course, ridicule some of the achievements of Ayédatiwa. Although some of the reports we are getting from Ondo State is that, look, the governor has become a cheerful giver. He's just opened it up completely. You understand?
Yeah.
There are some street language I would have used, but it's tricky. They said the man has just.
Fine, it's okay.
He's just satisfied everybody. He's not a cheerful giver. That's what we are seeing here. Actually, you don't know how far that is true. Of course, you understand that during this political era, the man wants to retain his seat as governor. He's going to do everything to win, really. And what we are hearing that, look, people are getting contracts right, left, and center. You've certainly made some heavy appointments, more about 200, 300 aides or something. So when you have things like that, you understand that, look, the man is happy to spend now. But again, we are talking about the resources of the people, which is really very unfortunate. These are not his personal funds. But again, who is going to bail the cat? How do you hold him responsible? How do you ensure accountability? Whatever the PDP says cannot guarantee or hold the man to account on anything, really. Unfortunately, our anti-graft agency, the EFCC, has become a toothless bulldog. They are only barking, they are not able to bite. And when they are biting the small teeth, quote and unquote. The big monsters in the room, they only bark. And when those ones say, hey, they run away. At least we know, if you don't know any case, we know of the white lion that was declared wanted, who eventually showed up and stayed in their car park for 3 hours. He left and then they went shooting. You know when the dog is afraid to attack a thief, it keeps barking. And then when the thief comes, the dog runs inside, and takes cover. So this is all politics, really. It's just going to be seen as mere political, banter between the APC and the PDP. But the reality is that, look, our governors do all manner of things, waste public funds anyhow, especially when campaigns or elections are near. They go on a lot of reckless spending spree, and there's really nothing anybody can do about it. Like I said, the FCC, we should have helped, has become a toothless bulldog.
It's such a coincidence that page 12 of the Punch actually tells us that there's suspense as the Supreme Court intends to rule on the 16 governors suit against the EFCC today. We have 16 governors who actually instituted a suit against the EFCC that they did not agree to the EFCC. In fact, it was some sort of UN convention that was compressed to form the EFCC, and they're demanding a total overhaul of the EFCC. Now, the EFCC Director of Public Affairs, Wilson Uwajaren, has responded that the governors that are going to court to see the disbandment of the EFCC are the ones who are scared that the EFCC is doing its job, and soon enough they might beam their searchlight on these governors. Fouad, we have governors that are actively imploring or praying the courts to actually overhaul the EFCC.
Even though scrap it completely. That's
you
what
agree?
Saying, that,
you agree?
No, I agree.
Oh, okay.
The prayers that look, it was not consciously formed.
Right.
And that the way it was formed does not give it jurisdiction
yes.
to investigate the subnationals
yes.
or the governors. You know, I think, of course, as expected, Kogi takes the lead of this thing who are in court. And you should know why.
Why? Many things. Kogi is a Pandora's box.
You know, so you should understand why, you know, the state is in the lead and some other states have also joined. So basically, our politicians, despite the fact that the EFCC has not been able to bite any of them, are still not comfortable that the EFCC will exist at all. If you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I've seen that, you know, somehow they've been able to also put some machinery in place to set this agenda of scrapping the EFCC. Some senior lawyers are also helping them to ventilate this idea stylishly. You know, you should know that there's a game. When you see the game, you know the game. You understand?
Yeah.
They will use all manner of people to push out this narrative. But at the end of the day, we should ask ourselves, what is our level of commitment to fighting corruption? The EFCC, the ICPC, even since they've been formed, how many years ago? What has been their level of success, really, in fighting systemic corruption, institutional corruption, and corruption within the political class? To what extent have they been able to do the job? But again, despite their inadequacies as anti-graft agency, our politicians are still not even comfortable that they exist at all. They want it to be, you know, free for all. And they are working to achieve that. We'll see how the case ends. You know, we'll see the ruling.
We'll see what the Supreme
Court. We'll be waiting to get the ruling of the Supreme Court on the matter.
Indeed. Well, that's that story. It is on page 18 as well of the Punch newspaper. Other headlines here: 11 investment picks shun Nigeria as federal government records $5 billion FDI. It's on page 28. We have on page 12: immigration detains Bobrisky after Seme border arrest. I saw that yesterday. Yeah, he was accused of trying to flee. There's an open investigation, right? And so I believe that they usually are advised to stay in the country during the course of investigation. We don't know what the agreement is, and we don't know if there's an active court case. Yes, if there's an active court case, you're usually advised to stay within proximity. But he was arrested by immigration, and he's being detained at the moment. It's on page. I have no idea for it. I don't watch for immigration.
Well, the part of it would have been nice to know whether he was with his makeup and was wearing the women's clothes. You know.
No, I saw the video. Yeah, he had braids on and everything, but it doesn't even matter.
He had braids on.
Braids, yeah, cornrows. The hair was braided, so it's, I don't know. Please don't.
But they don't arrest him, sir.
Yes, and he's going to be handed over to the appropriate authorities. It's on page 12.
Well, you know the committee investigating his case, and that of the correctional service people have said that although he spent his time,
he enjoyed certain privileges.
They said the report said he had his phone, TV, he had visitors coming,
refrigerator,
he had TV, and then so he was even sending some other prisoners errands.
So that's that. So the investigation, they've concluded, and the resolve is that he did spend his time at the correctional center, but then enjoyed certain privileges. That was the only thing. But he was not outside the gate of the correctional center.
Prisoner.
Well, it is what it says. It's on page 12, and we have Taj Bank grows shareholders fund by 960%. Yeah, that's his name. What? Well, that's what we have on the front page of the Punch. Let's very quickly look through the front page of the Guardian newspaper before we slowly start to wrap things up. We have here pro-masses bill stall at National Assembly as political motions get priority. Is on page 6. The riders, Inflation Reduction Fund, National Food Bank Bill, others stuck. Absence of clear legislative agenda ridiculing Akpabio-led Senate. Rafsanjani advocates expertise, adequate constitution to boost legislation. Huriwa, how National Assembly failures result in trillions of naira losses, and Senate work on hardship reduction bills not at advanced stages. So for just in summary, this report is telling us that the Senate are more concerned about bills that more or less favor them and their ambition, but there are a lot of bills that have been proposed by many members of the Red Chamber that are supposed to help the people, like the Inflation Reduction Fund. There's a National Food Bank Bill, amongst other things. They have pushed them to the side, but they're just focusing on bills that are somewhat beneficial to their political ambition.
Yeah, that's it. That's the 10th assembly we have. When it's a political bill, sharp, they attend to it. But there are bills that concerns the living standards of the people, the welfare of the masses. They don't even touch it. I think there's this story that Bola Ahmed Tinubu University has also passed the first reading, the second reading now. So you see that it's a 10th assembly that is not, and that's why it's important that people read some of these stories. We can only highlight these stories. It's always good to pick up the papers and really internalize these stories to understand that we're not just being critical here. When it comes to nation building, we need to bring out these things. The 10th masses that they've shoved aside, they're not even attending to it. So that's also the 10th assembly. Apart from being a rubber stamp, it has become an assembly majorly of pushing political agenda. And that's it.
It's on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. I implore you to please read this particular report. There are a lot of bills that have been shelved that, if implemented, would have brought some level of respite to the Nigerian people. But unfortunately, their own desires, according to the report, takes precedence over these bills. It's on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. Other headlines here, we've reviewed them. Bobrisky did not stay outside prison during sentence, says investigation panel, is on page 8. EFCC mocks critics, rearranges ex-governor over 5.78 billion fraud. That's on page 5. We have Dangote Refinery withdraws suit against NNPCL, others. It's on page 3. Obasanjo warns of global conflict, says 92 countries fighting 58 wars, is on page 3. This is actually becoming concerning for the amount of wars that we're seeing, especially now. And our neighbors are fighting, and there's this Yoruba proverb, any death that kills your neighbor, you should be very careful about it.
It's not even about neighbors, though. I don't know. The world has become a global village.
Yes.
So there's no war that you think it does not concern me. Directly or indirectly, you feel the impact.
Yeah, the Ukrainian war affected
when Russia and Ukraine war started,
yes.
We thought that the waiting concern would be Russia and Ukraine.
Yeah.
Until we knew that grains and wheat were coming from that region.
Exactly.
Here you see. As it is now, people are still expecting Israel to respond to the attack from Iran. And if they do that, implications for the oil sector.
Yes. Even the attacks on the Red Sea as well would have an impact on us.
Well.
Yes.
Houthi rebels who are attacking
on the Red Sea. Yes.
So there's the world has become a global village. So any conflict anywhere in the world, you could see direct or indirect impact on the nation. So we have to pay attention to these things.
It's on page 3.
And I understand what Fᴜဃᴜᴜ is saying. That there's too many crises in the world.
Yes.
Too many conflicts.
Yes. Well, we have here Anambra, Ebonyi, Imo grounded amid IPOB's denial of sit-at-home order. It's on page 27 of the Guardian newspaper. For Vanguard, very briefly, it's treasonable to call for military coup, says Defense HQ. It's on page 8. Why we arrested Bobrisky, I'm sorry, it's on page 6. Few import arrested. I was going to say arrested, I promise. I was going to say arrested, but
no, it's okay. It's on page 6. That we're scared.
A few import were settling out of court with NNPCL, others, says Dangote. PDP crisis, reconciliation committee to brief National Working Committee today. We also have on page 44, federal government to increase oil production by 1 million barrels per day in 24 months. It's on page 44. we're going to, we're leaving the studio now. Please don't say anything. We're leaving the studio now, very briefly, and we'll be back by 8:40 for more conversations. The Morning Express continues. We just wrapped up with trends in the papers. Mainland Focus will be on your airwaves in about 10 minutes after these commercials. I'm Sage Babalola. Outside would also be joining us. Don't go anywhere.